The Crucible Ultimate 32 has come and gone. Was it a success? Nova's event is starting today for his unlock. Are you ready for it? And the Knowhere Siege rules for war is coming next week. Will it be a hit or a miss? We're talking about all of these things and a lot more in this edition of your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. This week, I am joined by my brother MobileGamer. And if you're ready for a brother MobileGamer, let him know what to do.
It.
Yeah.
Let's go smash it!
ValleyFlyin.
Hello. What is up, Valley Club? Welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel and this edition of your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. We're talking about all the best, worst, and everything else about Marvel Strike Force this week. And if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force content, at least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel. And if you're listening to the podcast version of this, give it a nice review on whatever platform you're listening to it on. But this week, I'm joined by my brother MobileGamer, back after a long time. How have you been, my friend?
What's up, my guy? I'm doing well.
I'm glad that you're doing well. How are you enjoying Marvel Strike Force these days? It's been a while since I've talked about Marvel Strike Force.
Well, I think we're going to talk about it. You know, I think that I was myself personally quite thrilled with Cosmic Crucible 32, and I'm afraid of the contrast between that and. I know they want to call it season 3, but let's call it what it is, season 2.5.
It kind of is 2.5 because there's only 2 new rooms pretty much in there. Yeah. All right. What have you been hoarding this week, MobileGamer?
Actually, there's not a lot to hoard. I would have to actually go and look, but I think the only thing that needs to be hoarded right now is campaign energy.
Yeah, really the only thing we got, man. We don't have a lot of data mines on what is coming up in the next few weeks. So the only real information we have is what we got from the blog post, and we got a event coming up starting on May 18th, so later today, where you need to get these Corman orb fragments from campaign nodes, so kind of similar to what is going on right now. And then we have this black hole boogie where you don't really need to hoard anything. You need to win or lose battles in raids, arena, and bullets. So not a lot to hoard right now.
Hey, hoard everything, right? Don't advance your progress. Just hoard forever. Hoard everything, right?
My inbox is still full, so I'm still hoarding, even though we don't need to. But let's talk about the Ultimate 32. I had a lot of fun with this. There was a lot of good, a lot of bad. I like that we were able to use our own teams. We weren't pigeonholed to use specific teams and rooms and had the same defenses from every single opponent. I think all 5 of my opponents had different defenses, different rooms. What was your experience on the different agency that we were able to use in Cosmic Crucible this week?
It was amazing. And there was a video put out on Strike Time from February of last year where they specifically outlined how these room bonuses would foster a different experience in Marvel Strike Force, and people will be able to theory craft and the matches won't be repetitive. And I feel that this week, Ultimate 32 was exactly that. I did a poll yesterday on Twitch, and a large percentage of the community thought that the event was very fun. I think there was some confusion as to when it started, and I also feel like the rewards were a bit lackluster. But from a gameplay and a fun perspective, I considered it success. Of course, there's people out there that don't like Cosmic Crucible or War, or everybody's got a preference, right? And so I understand that not everybody likes Cosmic Crucible, but it's my favorite game mode, and so I thought it was a complete success.
What do you think about the extra days? And you mentioned briefly the rewards were kind of mediocre. One of the things I would change was the extra days. We had to do 5 battles instead of 3. We got the same kind of rewards. Would you, if this came back and getting that theory crafting back, would you like to see more rewards when it comes back, or just that it's so different and it's so fresh, the rewards doesn't matter? What would you prefer?
Okay, so well, first thing, I would prefer that this event started on Monday, just like the other ones did. Yeah. And so if it starts on Monday and it's going to run 5 days, that just makes more sense to me than starting on Friday, which was confusing. Some people didn't set their defense in time and so on. And I'm in the category where I prefer that the game move in a direction of being more fun.
Yeah.
And I know that this game is largely about rewards and collecting items and upgrading your roster. And I do feel like the event should, have the same amount of rewards. But the game for me shouldn't just be about rewards. The way that I look at it is like, if they, let's say they introduced 10 times the rewards in the next Blitz event. That doesn't change the fact that Blitz is garbage.
That's true.
Just because the rewards are good.
That's true.
And so, if we could value as the community the event being fun and not judging the value of the event solely on the rewards, which I feel like a lot of people did that with Pocket Dimension versus Tower. Yeah. A lot of people thought that Pocket Dimension was amazing and Tower was garbage, when really what they were talking about was
the rewards.
They were talking about the rewards. And from a gameplay perspective, I felt the opposite. Like there was more. Not that Tower was great, but there was more to it than Pocket Dimension.
There was more thinking.
Yeah, what was Pocket Dimension? Yeah, I don't even think it was a thing.
Hit auto, get rewards is what Pocket Dimension was.
I mean, if that's the game you want to play, I just would prefer to have fun and to maybe think. And I felt like Ultimate 32. Now, I lost one of my last round in Ultimate 32, and it was okay. It felt good to lose, and that's a strange thing to say when they did something right. When I had a good experience losing, I know why I lost. Yeah. I know what I could have done differently. And I thought it was awesome that my opponent did a better job. And there was nothing to blame. It wasn't like I didn't spend enough money or any of that, or it was literally I made a mistake and I knew what the mistake was. And it was fine. And it didn't, and there was no hard feelings. So I very much enjoyed Ultimate 32. And I believe that the experience that I had in Ultimate 32 was identical to what they presented to us a year ago in the
because they were talking about the Ultimate 32 and the preseason. They weren't talking about season 1, 2, and 3 for your agency and theory crafting. How often would you like to see this? Would you like to see this on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis? Obviously, I think the majority of the community would like to see this come back because if the high community engagement is any indication, I think the majority of the community like this Ultimate 32 as well. So how often would you like to see this come back?
I would like to see it. I mean, I would like to see things change more frequently, even monthly. It would be fine with me. I just think it's great. I think if it started on Monday rather than Friday, and if the rewards were better, I think the community would be more agreeable to this being more frequent.
Yeah, that was one of my big complaints as well, and not a huge complaint because this is more personal. I'm sure there's some people that liked it on the weekend. I didn't like it on the weekend. I didn't like having to play on Mother's Day. I want to do all my content during the week and play like these highly engaged battles during the week. But that was a personal preference for me. I'm sure some people like that it was like that, but that would be my only thing. But the community engagement was through the roof with this Ultimate 32, which leads me to say, what is going to happen when season 2.5 comes next week? Is it going to go down again? Are people going to not like Crucible again? Is it going to be fun for a week or two because we're getting 2 new rooms and then it's going to go down? What do you think is going to happen in season 3?
All right. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, let's wait and see how this is going to play out. I don't want to. It's going to be trash. It's going to be garbage.
It's still Crucible.
I just don't know what to say. I think it's absolutely horrible. Like, this is the most ridiculous. So firstly, the person that is in charge of these room bonuses is now the person that's in charge of monetization. It's not a creative person that wants it to be engaging and fun and with the original intent of the game. It's literally turned into a marketing tool, and it's terrible. And so we're in this conveyor belt where the room bonuses largely are not changing, and the super annoyance of rooms 5 and 6, which is garbage, is just basically moving to 3 and 4. Everything's pivoting down. You don't have to think. Even some of the new room, like the new room 6, or just put Rebirth. It's literally they.
This room 5 looks fun. Room 5 looks fun though. It's like room 6 of the Ultimate 32.
So what they're doing in the old rooms 5 and 6 is that, you know, they basically have told you what team is going to work best on defense, and, you know, which was Wakandan, and the other one's going to be Tangled Web Eternals, right? And then they sell a team, and they're so stuck on it being exactly that they're willing to nerf teams so that actually happens. So with the Wakandan situation, which you're showing here on the stream, you know, the community discovered that Darkhold worked. No, you can't use Darkhold. You need to use.
Yeah, why don't we make this global room and have all the Darkhold and Gamma characters go down in stats, so you can't use them against Wakanda anymore. That's what they did to solve it instead of.
So this is my proposal. Like, and the problem I have with this is that this goes directly against what they stated when they, you know, when Cosmic Crucible came out. They had this video, and I played it several times on stream and in my YouTube videos, where they're saying about how it's Cosmic Crucible is going to be this, and there's going to be theory crafting, and the rooms are going to, and the battles are going to feel different than other game modes, and we're going to have these room bonuses so that it's different, and it's going to be a theory crafter's dream. They didn't say it exactly like that, but it's not that. Yeah. In fact, it's worse what it's become, where it's the same thing. And I just want to say, like, let me give you an analogy of what's really happening. I decide that AIM minions get a bonus in room 12. And the bonus is not it doesn't even matter. 100%, 200%, 1,000%, 1,000,000% damage, focus, health. And then they sell you a team that says temporary boost. This team gets damage immunity against AIM. How is that anything? Is there any thinking? It's just literally you just buy the team because you have to buy the team because the boost that they created against AIM. So they take an older team, boost the hell out of it so that it's only beatable by this team that they're selling you, and you have to do that. Do not think. Only thing that you can do is spend money on the team. It's nothing. This is nothing more than a marketing tool. I think it's absolute garbage. I hate it. And not only do I hate what they're doing, is I'm worried that they're going to do this in Alliance War with Black Order as well. I think it's going in the same direction. And the main problem that I have with this is a direct contradiction to what they said they were, that the way this was supposed to work. It's almost like they lied to us directly, or the plans changed.
Now, I'm wondering if the plans did change. Maybe this was the original intent, the way that Ultimate 32 is working, the high community engagement. And then they lost so much money on Apocalypse. They lost so many players on Apocalypse. They started selling all these crazy offers like, oh, people are going away because of these crazy offers. Let's make it even more, because spenders are going to spend. Regardless if it's a $50 offer or a $5 offer, and free-to-play players may convert them with a cheap offer, but the spenders are going to spend, whether it's $100, $500, they're going to spend. So maybe that's what their direction is going right now, catering to the players that spend, upping the offers. Then they have to sell one $500 offer instead of, five $100 offers, or $105 offers, things like that. So maybe that's where they shifted it, because of the backlash of Apocalypse. Do you think that is why, or do you think that there's hope that they could go back and do more of this Ultimate 32 based on all the feedback that we've given them as a community?
I think I do fault them that, of course, every company is trying to make money, but it feels like it's way important. Like, it precedes fun or a logical, coherent game or anything, right? Like, it's the only thing that matters to them. And
villain mystic controllers for Phoenix.
Yeah, just like, it's just so weird. This is what I think. I think that they could actually create a dartboard for these room bonuses and say, all right, throw a dart. It says skill. Okay, room 1 gets a bonus to skill. Okay, what is it going to boost? Throw another dart. Oh, it's going to be skill cosmic. Oh, what is it going to do? They're going to get 900% offense. Okay, that's a room bonus. That would be better than what they're doing now.
Oh, I would love that. Then it's very confusing.
Yeah, have it change. Like, have it, and it wouldn't be hard to do. They don't even have to think, but and have it rotate more frequently, and then you know, let's say it changed every month, like every 4 weeks or something like that. And then here's the new bonuses, and you're like, oh wow, this is different. I mean, because we just had to do that right now with Cosmic Crucible Theater 2, and look how great that was. Like we had to look at the rooms and figure out what's going to work. Everybody had a different plan. We all kind of had to like scramble and share ideas and try to figure it out. And, you know, there's literally zero thinking involved. I think that what you're here is room 4, which is the old room 6. I think that is the most boring fight in existence. You take your Masters of Evil in versus Wakandan. Every single person does the same thing every single time. And so then who wins? Well, it's efficiency based then, right? So what I took one less attack because I have a higher red star on King and I win. How is that anything? It's nothing. It's garbage.
Well, I hope they take the feedback. You know, I'm hopeful. They listen to community in the past. Sometimes a lot of times they don't, but sometimes they have and make these changes. I hope they realize that this method right here, this season 3 or 2.5, season 2, with these specific rooms, specific counters to them, and no creativity, no theory crafting is not what the community wants. This is not how to get a majority of the players to spend money. There's players that are going to spend money regardless, but this is not how a lot of players want to be spending their money than these counters like this that are just very, very specific.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all.
All right, let's talk about another thing that you're probably very heated on because you mentioned the bonuses to the Black Order in these new Knowhere Siege that's coming to war. Coming next week, May 22nd is what's coming. That's when... we have some strategy bonuses that are different. It's gonna be more based on efficiency rather than racing, which I know you're in a hardcore war alliance. This is probably awesome for you, right?
This is better. I mean, I think the biggest advantage for me personally on this is that the matchmaking is somewhat terrible, and largely the matchmaking is bad because everybody's split up into 4 different time zones. And if they move to an efficiency-based system where time zones don't matter as much, then they can consolidate into one time zone, which I think will be very good for matchmaking.
What about for someone like you, you know, getting all your attacks that you could do right away rather than setting alarms on your phone and, you know, being on standby for how much is that going to affect you? And you could do all your attacks on the same night, all in one stream. How big is that going to be for you as a content creator? And how much is that going to, how different is it going to be for you just as a player for Marvel Strike Force?
Yeah, I think this is what a lot of people wanted from the very beginning. I mean, a lot of us are familiar with the efficiency-based system in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and largely this whole system felt like they copied Galaxies of Heroes homework and just did it wrong, like, which is hard to do, right? You know, and so it was very puzzling why they chose to have a time-based system, and I never liked it. Whether or not this system that they have here is better, you know, remains to be seen, but it can't be worse. And I think that you know, they probably could, you know, introduce it and then change it up a little bit and make it better, you know, just discover what works and what doesn't work. I think all around, having a system where you don't have to set timers and do your attacks at a certain time. I literally have a timer on my phone running right now. I can see when it's going to go off. It's probably going to go off sometime in this video, and I have to go do a war attack, right? For it to work off correctly, and it's disruptive, and you know, and it's unnecessary. So I largely feel like this system is a step in the right direction, and I think this is what. The way it should have been a long time ago. You remember, you were there. We were back in LA, and I remember being in the Weed Lounge with you know what I'm talking about.
They have the video games and everything, and Jason Bender and Cerebro and people were there.
First of all, it's a lounge, and there was no weed being smoked there. I just want to get that out of the way. Although I think a lot of the people
the community calls it that as kind of a fun thing, but
it was the weed lounge. It was this room adjacent to the break room that was a man cave, if you will. Like it literally was this little room that had every single console, a big screen TV, and a couch, and we were standing in there with, and I believe it was you, me, Arnold T101, Casino, and Jason Bender and Cerebro.
Yep.
So and Arnold says, "What are you guys thinking with this garbage alliance war time-based system? Why isn't it? I can't understand why you want to do it this way. It's terrible." And he defended it. I remember Jason Bender defending it strongly. Like, this has been thrown in their face for years, and finally they are looking to change it, and I think that is great because we've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, this is something we wanted for a while. Now, how much does it, and obviously it's going to give you some lifestyle back, which is great, but how much does it worry you that they say this is limited time, this is a test, and they're going to see how the community reacts to this? Are you worried that they're going to go back to this old time-based system, or do you think this is here to stay, and maybe some of these bonuses are what they're going to experiment with?
I don't really know what they're doing. I think that the reason why they're testing is because they want to make it permanent. I think they want to see if it's better or not.
I hope it. Well, better from the community's enjoyment of this, or better from the profitability of Scopely? What is better?
I don't know. I don't know what they're looking forward to. I mean, I feel like I know that I've heard. I know that, and I'm not involved, but they have key members in the community that are currently testing this right now, and normal community members, right, and or community members that really care about war are currently testing this, and I know that they've made some changes. Like, one of the changes was made from their initial release of this, and then based on this post, had to do with what canceled attacks counting or not counting. Well, they actually changed the rules specifically from the testers' feedback. So I think that matters. I think the community feedback matters, but I'm sure there's some Captain Clipboard back there, looking at monetization, and they're going to have a waiting on this too. There is something that is bad, and let's talk about that. Or let's go to these guys. Black Order, 3 safeguards, 100% primary stats, defending Thanos and Black Order allies. 3 safeguards, evades, offense up, speed up to Thanos and Black Order allies that are not exhausted. Man, the Black Order looks like beasts on defense. They already were a meta team back in the day. I think their stats didn't really keep up with the current meta. Now they're getting their stats back in war. Is it worth upgrading the Black Order just for this Knowhere Siege, knowing that it may be limited? I mean, the question you're asking is war worth upgrading characters, and
I guess that's the ultimate question.
Yeah, that's the question. For me, yes, because I care about war. But if you don't care about war, maybe not. It's up to you, right? And I think that's going to depend on your priorities and your alliance priorities. Now, what the problem I have with this, and I'm guessing that 100% primary stats is huge, and it is impactful,
doubling everything.
And so now they've done a couple things here to make it so that it is not indestructible over multiple attacks. So
I think you're talking about this exhausted effect.
So they get a special bonus. So basically, let's scroll down a little bit. Basically, what they're saying is that my guess is that if your intent and if you want to win the war is dependent on beating Black Order with 1 attack, that will be impossible unless you have Nova and friends. I'm highly suspicious that this is the way it's going to play out, and that Black Order is going to be nearly impossible to beat the first round, no matter what you do, no matter what team you use. And of course, they've got this backup plan where
safeguard, 3 safeguard, 3 of that's going to be horrible, dude. That's not going to be fun.
That stuff there won't apply on the second attack.
And but that first attack is going to be rough.
The first attack is auto lose. I suspect it's going to be auto lose to everything other than Nova and friends.
This is where you can put in your A minions. This is for your A minions to get that exhausted attack.
This is but this is exactly what I was stating too. Take a random team, boost them up a bunch, make them unbeatable by everything except for what they're selling us. And this is just literally a marketing plan, create a problem, sell a solution. It's the exact same. I'm guessing, I have to play it. I'm guessing this is the exact same thing that they're doing with room bonuses and Crossbow Crucible. This is literally nothing than an extension of them selling us the Knowhere team.
Oh, here's the thing. The devs have went back on a few things, and I think if the community complains enough about a certain thing, they will have to listen, and not just complaining in videos and stuff, complaining with your wallets as well. So Cosmic Crucible, you want the Ultimate 32 back? I want it back. I'm going to keep making videos and complaining. I'm not spending the same thing with these war bonuses. If I want stuff to change, let the devs know. Give them your feedback. They look for the community feedback. So if there's something that you don't like, let them know. They listen. They don't always make the changes, but they do listen to that stuff. So hopefully this works well.
So I do want to say that I do like something about this. I really like the exhausted.
You're talking the bonuses, the exhausted effect.
I like the exhausted bonuses because I think something that I know you have a strong opinion about this, but Heroes for Hire was generally unfun. And you know, when Heroes for Hire came out, you know,
am I known as a Heroes for Hire guy, the Heroes for Hire hater? Because
no, it doesn't matter. It's not just you, but like when there was a strong Heroes for Hire, you know, 17 attacks. I've seen screenshots of people. You know, when it first came out, the problem with it was that, you know, the first attack or the second and third attack, it didn't get better because they were so fast and they wiped out your team. And so this exhausted mechanic plus the safeguard and all that stuff that disappears after the first attack means that it will get easier, you know, whether it's the first or second or third or fourth attack. So it's not going to be, you know, debilitating, if that's the right word, the way that Heroes for Hire was when it first came out, which that was absurd. It was absolutely ridiculous.
I hope this, if they're changing things, I hope they keep this exhausted effect. I hope they keep it efficiency based, and some of these other things maybe they'll tweak. But this exhausted effect, the efficiency based, I like all this stuff. I'm looking forward to this stuff. You know what else I'm looking forward to, Mobile Gamer?
What's that?
Unlocking Nova today. Are you going to unlock Nova today?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how difficult it's going to be with the milestones, but they did lower the milestones down from like 2.2 million down to 1.3 million. What those numbers means, I don't know. But also, if you keep going down, there's some gear tier 18 pieces down at the second to the last one. So
you get the unlock here at 550, which they said. But yeah, going down here, you could get even more charge for Nova. You got this gear tier 18 pieces. Is this a fully crafted or is it a brand? No, this is brand new. This is brand new.
It's new, yeah, for sure.
These are all right. So these two are brand new. This augmented nebulizer, and we've had orange gear stuff before, but it's new and teal. Yeah. All right. So a lot of stuff here, and if you get 1.35, you get a 4-star unlock. They said, right? And these rank rewards in this look pretty good as well. I was worried about what the rank rewards. It looks very similar to the Scourge event. So it looks like a lot of people are going to end up with 7-star Novas after this event.
I like these type of events. I think they're better than the old school legendary event where either you got it or didn't got it. I feel like this is actually a game. You actually have to play it. You know, if you want to do well, you have to understand the mechanics. And I think that the Scourge style, I know it's still called Scourge. They called Pacts this time, which is a little bit different, right? Because
they're calling it Scourge right here.
Yeah, but it's called Scourge. I'm a fan of. I think that these Scourge events for legendary releases, with starting with Morgan Le Fay, after they fix the APK hacking problem, it's a big up for the community. I remember one of the things that I used to say way back in the day before the Scourge release message was like, there's no shame in unlocking a legendary character the second time around, because a large percentage of the community did not unlock the legendary character the first time around. And so this is an upgrade in my opinion. And I'm sure there's some people that don't like playing the Scourge, but regardless of that, it's actually a game. It's actually, it's something, it's challenging. Like, if you're playing against your peers and, and being efficient at it, to the extent that there's a high degree of RNG. I think that the first Morgan Le Fay event was a big disaster with, not only with the leaderboard issues, but with the high degree of RNG to get an optimal score. And it feels like it got better as time went on, and we'll see how this one plays out.
Seem to learn from their mistakes. What do you think the difficulty of this Nova event's going to be?
No,
it's going to be more Morgan Le Fay-ish, or your prediction? Your prediction, though.
No, I
think it's going to be harder or easier, or more relative to like Archangel, the latest one that we got.
Yeah, I don't imagine it being anything like Morgan Le Fay. I think Morgan Le Fay was something that they didn't. I think they know that was bad.
Yeah, that's why they switched it.
Yeah, going into a node with the spiders, and Star-Lord had to target OG Spider-Man, and OG Spider-Man had a percent chance to dodge, and that had to happen for the rest of the round to go well. So you were literally restarting the match until Star-Lord targeted OG Spider-Man and he dodged. And then you could move on, and then you just reset. So
many times. Yeah, that was horrible. You're bringing back these trauma memories back. All right, but let's talk about these scourges. Have you looked through these scourges or these packs for this scourge event?
Yeah, I looked through the two things that I got out of it is that some of them were pretty cool, like being able to enable crucible bonuses, right? I thought that was really cool. But the other thing too is that they affect both sides of the field. And so I don't know. I mean, until we know what the opponents are and how it plays out, I mean, it's largely unknown. Which is also interesting on what's going to be optimal. But there was some how do you know if this is hurting you more than it is helping you? Because
actually, at this point, you don't, because you don't know the nodes and the waves. But these are what I'm thinking is the ones in pink are the ones that's going to benefit more the enemies. So you may want to equip some of these on the offensive, Bio Armor, World, Avenging X Factor, Master Spider-Verse. If you just want a high score, I think it's going to make it more difficult. I think these yellow ones may be a wash. Obviously, all these are dependent on the enemies, and these one in green, Supernova Power Dynamics, I think that's going to benefit you more than the enemies, and you can kind of work around these. So those are my predictions. Hopefully it comes true, but of course we won't know until all the wave info comes out. What are your expected star level before this, after this event is over? Where are you hoping that you're going to get your Nova? 7, 6?
7 or 5? 6. I value the amount of time and the amount of fun that it is. I definitely have gotten 7s the first time around, and then this last time I invested 1 hour of time. I didn't have a lot of time. I was very busy with getting married and things like that. And
yeah, important life stuff.
Yeah, important stuff. And I was proud to get a 6 with 1 hour of time. Nice. Run. Yeah, and so it just depends. I actually think Nova is going to be important. And I also think that Nova possibly could be an exceptional plug and play arena character. I like the battlefield effects, and so I think he's important enough to pursue and spend some time on it. And that means that for me personally, a 7 is within range if I put the time into it, for sure.
Yeah, I think just has based on how hardcore you go in war. I think you need a 7. Just you do.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Did you notice in this event that they are teasing Mephisto? I know we saw some data mines last week about Mephisto, but they mention him here. With our heroes in desperate need, Mephisto has emerged from the shadows to offer greater power at a cost. Now, since he's mentioned in here, I'm wondering, what do you think this means? Is it going to be he's more of a host of these events, like Mojo is to Real-Time Arena, or the Living Tribunal is for Cosmic Crucible and Doom and Apocalypse were for other events? Or is this an indication that he's going to become a playable character down the road? Like Doom was initially the host of the Doom raids, then became a playable character. Apocalypse was the host of these Scourge events, then became a playable character. What do you think is going to happen with Mephisto?
I feel like to answer your question about Mojo, I think that was an outlier, and I feel like the reason why Mojo was not a playable character was due to his body size. That came out wrong, not because he was fat, but because of his. The frame and the rigging that they would have to use to create unusual size.
It would have the Hulk problem.
Yes. So it's like the same problem that they've said that they had with introducing Cosmo. Well, they got around that finally. And then they also had a problem, like another character that a lot of people want would be like MODOK, right? They've said that rigging is a problem. So I think that Mojo's introduction to the game and the reason why he's not a playable character is mostly because of the rig problem. I don't think Mephisto is going to be that. Why wouldn't he be, the next Apocalypse?
I mean, the data mines did show that he has levels and things like that.
Yeah, why not?
I think it's likely as well. All right. Incursion raids. We had a bug last week. We had some compensation come this week. Did you get your compensation in the mail for the Incursion event?
Yes.
And when we got it, we obviously had some issues here. This was the compensation that came. What happened in this event was when the update came live, everybody, whether you met the requirements or not, for about an hour and a half or so, was able to enter this and get the rewards. Some players were able to take advantage of it, get some ISO 8.5 blue, whether they were supposed to get that or not. And then we got this blog post that there were going to be some compensation. It looks like it's going to give players the rewards. The event was going to be coming back. And then we got these rewards here. No ISO 8.5 blue. Was this handled in the right way, MobileGamer?
No, this is a disaster. So the correct way to handle this, and it would have been less work for them, was to not remove the event. When it was bugged, leave it alone. And so by leaving it alone, that would allow everyone that did not have the 5 characters at 5 stars, the invaders, right?
Yeah.
To get the extra rewards at their own speed, at their own time. They didn't have to be logged in for that hour and a half. You could get them, right? And everybody would have had the same opportunity to take advantage of their mistake, right?
Yes.
And then reissue the bonus event, call it a bonus event, which has it done correctly. So the people that do have the correct requirements could participate it the way that it should and have an advantage over the people that didn't, right? But the way that they did it now is a disaster. For a couple reasons.
What is this stuff? I'm not sure what this stuff is.
Okay, so there's a couple groups of people, and I feel like there's 3 groups of people, right? And I feel like 2 groups of people are okay with this solution because they still got what they got. There's the people that had the requirement and they were able to get through the event and they already got the 1.8, and which just call it for what it is. That's the only thing that matters is the 1.8 blue ISO 5. That is what matters. Yeah. So the people that had the requirements already got it, got the compensation that's showing there on the screen, cool, bonus stuff, and they get to go through the event again. So they got an additional 1.8. Those people are happy. That's
what happened to me. I'm still not happy that the rest of the community wasn't taken care of.
Those people are fine, right? It's like I was
taken care of, but not everyone else was.
Yeah. So the people that already had the 5-star invaders are like, cool.
Yeah.
The Scopely screwed up, and I got an extra 1.8 million blue ISO 5 and this stuff that's shown on the screen. So that's fine. The people that were online that were able to get through it in that hour and a half are happy because they got 1.8 million, right? Yep. But then there's like this other group of people, like this group of people that only went through like 1 node or 2 nodes.
the partial runs.
And then they got nothing.
0.
They got none of this. And then the normal community that just, maybe they have a job, maybe they go to work, or maybe they have a family. Like, who has a job or a family? I can't imagine anybody having
plays this game. I don't know if it's possible.
They just couldn't happen to be online the second the patch dropped, right? And they basically have no opportunity to get that 1.8 million blue ISO 5. So they're kind of left with getting nothing.
And the reason ISO 8.5 blue is so important, you need it to unlock Apocalypse. You need the ISO 8.5 equipped on 23 characters. And I thought that it worked a little differently. Initially, I thought, once you equipped the certain amount of ISO 8.5 and Gear Tier 17 on certain characters, you could get into that final stage and unlock parts of stars for Apocalypse. And then when it went live in the game, people were saying, no, it does not work like that. You need a full requirements. But you're saying that's not how it works. Why is the order of which characters to put on the ISO 8.5 important?
Okay, so there's 2 things. Let's just stipulate this: to get a big boy Apocalypse, you do have to have all 23 characters at blue ISO 5, right? Which is a feat. Now, to complete each individual Horseman saga, and there's 3 stages, right? To complete all 3, you have to have the Horsemen and the Horseman teams at Gear Tier 17. So when you have and you can go through and do Darkhold, so on and so on. So if you click on right there, right, you'll see. Okay, you can see that you've done your famine one.
Yep.
And you've done
some of the ones on Pestilence, but not 3-star them all.
So go to your death one real quick. So you have death and what's Pestilence?
3 stars on some of these, yeah.
Yeah. So when you finish, so that requires Gear Tier 17 to finish that third stage. Once you've done that third stage, you can go into the Apocalypse Saga.
Gotcha.
And so when you can, and then so you can go, so when you have and you have to do all 4 of those. So when you have 20 characters, the horsemen and the horseman teams at gear tier 17, you have completed all of this. And then you can go into the first round of the Apocalypse Saga. And the Apocalypse Saga, you can go into it if you have Morgan Le Fay and the Darkhold. You have not only gear tier 17, but blue ISO 5.
Okay.
Then you can go into it.
So this Darkhold team first is the first team you should put your ISO 85 on, nobody else. Then Famine, then Ward, then Death, then the other 3 characters.
And the reason why this matters is because you can go into the first round of the Apocalypse Saga and actually get some more blue ISO 5, which then you can apply to your next team and then your next team. So it'll speed up the process if you upgrade your characters in the order that they were released.
Okay. So, and you're also getting gold stars and red stars along the way before the full unlock, because it's not when you pass the last node, you're getting all that stuff. It's per node. So you're getting a few things per node.
Yeah. So like, let's say like I am one character short of taking to 17, and that's Psylocke, right? And there's actually 2 pieces showing in the month-long event that will help me finish her, right? So then I'll be finished with her when I get those 2 pieces from the month-long event, which ends up here in the next 2 weeks. So then I'll have all 20 characters at gear tier 17. I already have my Darkhold at blue ISO 5. I already have my Unlimited at blue ISO 5. And I'll be able to go through those parts of the Apocalypse Saga, and I will not only get more blue ISO 5 for completing that, but I might also get, I don't know exactly how it plays out, but I think I get an extra yellow star and an extra red star.
And we looked at the nodes around msf.gg if you guys want to see what you're exactly getting per node. But very important. I thought it worked a certain way, and then people are saying no, it doesn't, but it sort of does and sort of doesn't. So that get your gear tier 17. Once you have a gear tier 17, ISO 85 blue matters on which characters you have it on. All right. Other thing that we got yesterday, and neither of us really knew about it until this morning. Gear tier 18, we had this blog post that they didn't really share anywhere. I think they shared it on Twitter, and that's about it. But May 18th, Gear tier 18 is going to the supply section of the stores. So Hoards or gold, you're going to need even more gold just to buy that stuff, let alone how much to equip all that stuff. You're going to get rewards for limited time upcoming events. So basically auctioning it off for leaderboards. And the forthcoming incursion raids. Some people had a problem with this. Do you have a big problem with the gear tier 18 coming? I mean, we expected this, right?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, obviously it's, creating or having another problem, another issue where we have to funnel gold into and we're already extremely strapped for gold is not good. But to a large extent, this is not any different than when gear tier 17 was released. So it's more of the same. So like, I don't think that any of this is unusual. So first things first, the people that, got into, let's say, Dark Dimension 5 first, or got a Big Boy Apocalypse first, they spent on the order of a car, right? And the way that they did that is that they're refreshing that supply store. We're talking about spending hundreds of dollars a day to refresh the supply store just had a chance of getting a single piece to move forward, right? Which is absurd. So my plan for this is largely not any different than, the way that I perceived, Dark Dimension 5 or Big Boy Apocalypse. I'm not in the race for that. It doesn't affect me. Other people are going to get it, and that's fine. And they're going to have to spend ungodly amounts of money. I will. Now, what I'm going to have to do is, be on the lookout every 8 hours for a single, if I get lucky, gear tier 18 piece, which is not going to, the way it was before, it very rarely showed up with the gear tier 17, right? And you had to be very deliberate about buying it every day. And that's just an additional amount of gold that can't be used towards, spending 1 million gold going from level 94 to 95. So it's an additional drain on the gold economy. And it also, as they're very proud of in this video, right? In the video right here and in this post, is that the stat boosts to going from gear tier 17 to gear tier 18 are actually significant. and this has happened in the game before. The stat boost increase going from gear tier 13 to gear tier 14 was quite high. This looks like it's on that order. I mean, those are very big stat increases. So
very big.
What that means is that gear tier 18 is important, and it is going to make a difference in, you know, the various competitive modes, whether that's arena, Cosmic Crucible, or war.
It's good, huge stat increase is good for PvE content though, but not as good in PvP content when you're facing like, you face some really high level characters. So
absolutely.
Any planning at this point? I mean, is it way too early to know?
Way too early
to plan which characters take up to gear tier 18. We don't know how often we're getting this stuff, how much stuff we're getting. Is it too early?
1000% too early. Okay. Like it is one. I mean, there is literally nothing to do. I am personally not recommending nor equipping any gear tier 18 pieces on any characters at all until we know how it plays out and what characters are going to be efficient. And like other Dark Dimensions, there was always two factors to consider, as like, is this character good at completing the Dark Dimension?
Yeah.
But more importantly, is this character efficient in your use outside of Dark Dimension? Because you're going to use this character outside of Dark Dimension, and these characters are going to get a significant stat boost. So there was always this risk reward of, and a good example of that would be back in the day with like Shield Trooper just didn't require any of these pieces at all, right? And so some people upgraded Shield Trooper, and maybe that was a waste. He was useless everywhere else, but he allowed people to get through. Excuse me, allowed people to get through the Dark Dimension faster because he needed less pieces. So there's always that debate, and we don't even know what that debate is right now. Is like, is this character effective in multiple game modes and useful in Dark Dimension and worth the investment, even though it needs more pieces? Or do you go on characters that are maybe not useful in multiple game modes, but they're inexpensive and allow you to get through Dark Dimension 6 much quicker than somebody else?
You know what? I think those are good questions. I think those are good questions and good problems, because we didn't have that with Apocalypse. We had to build the same exact things. Now you get to choose. You want to build a cheap character just so you can get it? You could do that. You want to build a character that's effective in Dark Dimension? You could do that. You want to build a character that you can have use after Dark Dimension? You can do that. You can do it however you want. There's no right or wrong answer, because it's up to you how you want to do that. Right. But we do have a date for Dark Dimension. June 27th is what they say in-game mail. Is there anything to prep for at this point? Obviously not the gear 18 pieces. Are you looking at any characters that are going to be effective in these modes?
Nope. Nothing. Do nothing on this. I think for 99% of the player base, there's absolutely nothing to do other than acquire these gear tier 8. You know, whenever you see a gear tier 18 piece, my suggestion, purchase it. It is expensive. It's going to be a waste of gold because you're not going to be able to do anything with it. But how else are you going to do this? I mean, these Dark Dimensions don't happen by accident. You're not going to finish this accidentally. You have to be deliberate in your planning, deliberate in your purchasing of resources in the supply store, you know, and it is going to be extremely scarce at first. And so, and then choose wisely when the time comes to equip a piece or to upgrade a character. There's definitely going to be an order that makes sense, and there's going to be characters, and optimally the characters that allow you to get through the nodes, because you got to keep in mind too, there were certain like these Dark Dimensions have historically been hard, right? Yeah. And if you took the wrong characters in, maybe you don't get through, or it takes you a month longer to get through it. Like, so you can make bad choices. And so I think that there are a lot of other people, and you and I both will report on what works and what the community discovers. It's a puzzle. It's literally a puzzle, and the early adopters are going to pay the high price to get through it first.
I'm happy that we have a puzzle to solve, though. I don't like the cookie cutter, and everybody says I love that we have a puzzle to solve. It's so much more fun as a player, as a content creator. I love it. All right, but it does bring into light another thing. All these gear tier 18 is a gold bottleneck. Is this still a big issue? I mean, we've lost some gold from calendars. When is a new gold orb coming? When are we going to get new challenge tiers for gold? What is the solution for this? When are they going to increase this, or do we still have to? How long are we have to struggle with this gold?
Okay, so there's two parts to this problem, right? The amount of gold that we receive and the amount of gold that we need to spend. And so Scopely, if Scopely wanted gold to be more available, they wouldn't have made it so expensive to upgrade characters from 90 to 95. So
oh my goodness.
Please understand that this is deliberate and intentional. And if they wanted to relieve the gold bottleneck, they would have not made the cost to upgrade characters from 90 to 95 so expensive. It's very deliberate. It's very intentional, as well as the removal of gold from like the calendars. They've actually stripped away a lot of access to gold. And so this is terrible, right? And I know a lot of people, so the first question is, does Scopely perceive this as a problem? Obviously the community does, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, this is how we can fix the gold bottleneck. Does Scopely even think this is a problem? My guess is that this is a 1000% intentionally manufactured artificial scarcity. It's scarce by design. This is not a problem. This is their plan. This is what they want. So it's not something that they feel needs to be fixed. Like, yeah. I mean, it's not something that they want to fix. Now, should they fix it? Should they relieve it? Well, yeah. And if they wanted to do that, I think one of the first things they could have done is not made it so expensive and not stripped away rewards out of the calendar, let's say. This idea of introducing a new gold orb is interesting. I don't see how that's different than just giving us more gold orbs through various
more
events,
gold orbs or increasing the gold orb contents. They've done that 2 times in the past, but I don't think they've done that in the past 2 years or something.
What if there was gold in a monthly calendar? Oh, wait. What is that? Having gold in the calendar? They actually remove. If they wanted us to have more gold, they wouldn't have removed the gold from the calendar, right? So there's a ton of ways that they can interject gold into our accounts through events or calendars or whatever without having to change the gold orbs. So this idea that they need to rework the gold orbs, I think would be a disaster and foster and encourage hoarding. When this was presented yesterday.
Then obviously is a problem for us, but maybe not a problem for Scopely. What would you like to see done to get more gold into the economy? What do you think be a fair way? I've heard a bunch of solutions, changing the gold orbs, increasing the challenges, which they didn't do for level 80 to 85. They didn't for 85 to 90, and now 95 to 90. Right. 90 to 95. They haven't increased the challenges at all, and they used to do that every time we got a level cap increase. Right. What would be the best solution in your opinion that they could introduce to the community?
More gold's more gold, right? Whether we get more gold from a new, from more events or calendars or challenges or whatever. I don't know if that matters where we get the gold from.
I mean,
what I think would be a severe problem, and they should absolutely not do, is restructure the gold orbs. There are people sitting on hundreds, if not thousands, of gold orbs. Someone in chat was boasting about having nearly 500 gold orbs. Changing the contents of the gold orbs basically further incentivize hoarding, which largely is not perceived as a good thing.
What is the correct solution? Is it increasing the challenges? I've heard blitz wins, getting gold per blitz wins. Anything.
So here's the thing, though. They're not going to be likely to increase a means of getting gold through something that is achievable through some sort of automated process. They also do not want to encourage bots or scripting. And so if they increased, like if they made gold farmable, like in Blitz, and like you could get more gold per Blitz, and the more you Blitz, the more you gold, all that would do is incentivize botting and scripting, and they're not going to do that as well.
Why do the cheaters have to do that? And anyway, scrap that idea. I forgot about that.
Challenges would be fine. Calendar would be fine. Just giving us more gold orbs would be fine. Events would be fine. Anything is, as long. I don't think they're likely to create a loop that is repeatable, like through a botting system, right? I don't think they're going to do that, and I think it would be a big mistake to redesign the orbs, because that basically would just incentivize hoarding to no end.
Yeah, they've created a big problem. But yeah, I honestly, Scopely, give us like millions and millions of gold, because it doesn't really matter. When we got millions of gold before, that lasted for a little bit, and then we're just back to this bottleneck. So if you significantly increase the gold, I don't think it will make a difference either way. So just do it. We'll have a little more fun. We'll have a little more agency in our stuff. So just do it.
But they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to strip gold away from calendars. They didn't have to make the cost outrageous to upgrade a character from 1995. Do we even know how much gear tier 18, gear tier 17 pieces are quite expensive, right? Is it probably going to be, I mean, all of that is on their end, right? And if their intent was not to make it outrageous, then they would have done that.
Yeah. Well, leave your feedback, guys. Respectfully, leave your feedback to them and let them know that you're unhappy with the gold situation and anything else. Just let them know. They've said that they want player feedback and community feedback. All right, we were actually done recording when you got these screenshots. Some Gear 18 popped up to my store. It looks like they're costing 200,000 each as compared to 150,000 for the Gear Tier 17s each. As you can see, 400,000 for two of them. And instead of 20 of each of the Gear Tier 17 pieces, you're going to need 22 of the Gear Tier 18 pieces. What are your thoughts on this? Is this exactly what you thought it would be?
It's exactly what I thought it'd be. And I don't know what to say. My expectations are low. I do think people should be upset about this. It is expensive. And we talked at length just a moment ago about the problems with gold. And this just is furthering this. And if we look at the screenshot of the person that sent us the screenshot, I mean, they're sitting on 47 million. Fuck you, dude.
Oh my goodness.
But anyways, I have no gold. I'm looking at my screen right here. I have 81,000 gold. But anyways, good for you. Right. How am I supposed to respond to that? Of course, I thank you for sending me the screenshot, but yeah, oh my God. And I'm sure some people do have gold and some people don't. But the main issue that I have with this is, like I said earlier, I think it's a mistake to ignore these. Like, if you want to make any kind of progress into Dark Dimension 6, you kind of have to start today. My experience with Dark Dimensions is that they don't happen accidentally. Like, you don't just accidentally get a Dormammu. Like, it requires planning. And unfortunately, what pieces to buy or not buy. But I think that we need to buy so many of them. And the problem with this idea that I'm saying is that largely this gold, like that 400,000 gold, could be used today in my roster to upgrade a character closer to gear to 95, and that money basically that gold just has to sit unused until we know what we're doing with Dark Dimension 6. So yeah, I actually think it might be reasonable for some people to not buy these, but I'm going to feel compelled to start stocking these up.
Now, if you have gold, obviously you start stocking these up if you want to get into Dark Dimension 6. My question is, for some people that are a little bit limited on gold, would you wait to see what the raid rewards are going to be, or what the leaderboards are, before you start to invest all your valuable gold in this? Or would you, even if you're low on gold, would you start to buy these today if you really want to get into Dark Dimension 6?
It's kind of unknowable, and do what you got to do. Okay. It really is. That's the correct answer. Right? That's the correct answer. It's unknowable. I mean, and to the impact, I don't know what it's going to make on your progress, right? If you choose to buy these, the downside is that you can't use that in gold to upgrade a character. If you choose to not buy these, to what extent? Yeah, you're going to get delayed. We don't know what pieces to buy. We don't know characters to use. We don't know
Red Hump and Kang.
Yeah, we just don't know. Like, we don't know the exact details. And we also, the other thing we don't know is what are the other means of getting these pieces. And I'm expecting them to be outlandishly scarce.
Well, they did talk about the other ways to get this in the they did talk about some other fragments that were getting here with this calendar and getting these orbs that contain some mini pieces. But it's still a big question mark for all this stuff.
Let's talk about Gear Tier 16 for a second, if you don't mind, right?
Sure.
I feel like I kind of understand why Gear Tier 17 is scarce is still today. Because it's one of the things that for getting we're moving towards apocalypse, right? Yeah. Gear 16 is largely very, very scarce, and I think most people don't care about Gear Tier 18 when they're struggling in orange and getting characters to Gear Tier 16. I mean, I am, right? I mean, that's a reasonable thought, right? And there was an offer. I don't know. Do you still have that offer available? There was an offer that came up yesterday for $20, which had a large chunk. Yeah, that one right there. Yeah. And I didn't buy it, but to me, so this is an offer that we typically see before they make the Gear Tier 16 more available. And I'll give you an example, like orange gear. Largely today for a lot of people is pretty. I mean, are you struggling with orange gear at all? I am not.
Orange gear, not. I didn't look at this fragments I have for Armory 16. I haven't opened any of these 17s though. I don't have a lot of them.
Yeah. So
I'm struggling with 17s right now.
So the pattern that's in this game is that this signals that that Gear Tier 18 is coming.
16 is
still scarce, but it's going to be loosened, and we need to extract $20 from the more value-based spenders. No, you know what I'm talking about. There's some people that buy everything, and then there's people like I'm sure you and I are similar as a lot of the people that are watching that. They're very selective on what they purchase, and so this is a higher value if there's such a thing in this game. Everything is expensive, but it's a higher value than it was. And my best guess is that not only does this signal that other people are moving on to Gear Tier 18 and they're selling this to the more value-based spenders, that are in a different bucket, the dolphins or the whales, but not the Krakens, right? Yeah. And then maybe a month from now, we'll have more access to Gear Tier 16 in the same way, hopefully, that we have more access to orange gear at this time.
But we got a new update, MobileGamer. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure what the hell happened to this. One of the big things that I thought it was supposed to fix was a supply store unintentionally auto-scrolling. Well, when I go into the game right now, it auto-scrolls right there. But you said this had a different meaning than all this stuff that they're talking about, right?
I don't know this, but I know that there was a surprise patch once before, and I believe it was the Rogue Scourge, if I remember correctly, the second Scourge. And the purpose of that patch somebody whispered in my ear, I don't know if it's true or not, it was one of those rumor type things, that the purpose of the patch was to modify the game files to circumvent possible APK hacking, and it was done right before Scourge. And if I remember this correctly, the first Morgan Le Fay effect was a disaster, right?
Yeah, and the cheaters and everything.
They were cheaters. They had to manually clean up the leaderboards, and it's been fixed since then, right? I mean, and maybe the primary purpose of this patch wasn't what's stated here, because they're not going to tell us if it's an anti-APK hack thing.
That makes more sense. Yeah, this is the day before Nova did. This is the day before Nova Scourge. What you're saying makes absolute sense. So I think that's probably what happened, because this was not fixed.
I don't know that any of these problems were fixed at all. Like I think they said they wanted to, but I don't know.
Did they fix the APK hacking? Really? If that's what they're doing.
I'm okay with this. Dude, there's nothing more corrosive to an in-game economy than the ability to get stuff for free. I mean, it would destroy pretty much the entire framework that the game's designed. I mean, they've spent years carefully crafting, this system of artificial scarcity, right?
Incursion rates. Excuse me.
What's that?
Incursion rates. I'm sorry.
Anyways.
All right. So yeah, there's some good things to looking forward to in Marvel Strike Force. Obviously, some things to complain about. But let's move on to something outside of the Marvel Strike Force universe, and it's still in the Marvel universe. Now, there's a spoiler warning. We're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you have not seen this, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching the weekly news update. But let's go talk about this. Spoiler warning. If you have not seen this movie, you have been warned. All right. MobileGamer.
Yeah.
How much did you enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Okay, I like the movie. I was highly entertained. I do recommend any Marvel go see it. Couple things. So
Okay.
so a secondary tier of whether I like the movie or a lot is, will I go see it again in the theater? How many times will I watch the movie? So there's a couple Marvel movies that I've seen over and over and over again. You know, the original Iron Man and Ragnarok and Civil War and Wakanda and Endgame, right? Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
You know, like how many times have you seen those movies?
A lot.
And even Shang-Chi, right? Which is not, that's just Civil War and Shang-Chi and Ragnarok. I've seen these movies like several times. I don't know, like where does this fall? Like even the original Guardians of the Galaxy, I've seen that movie so many times, like 4 or 5 times maybe, right? And
my kids love 1 and 2.
Yeah, and I don't know when I will have the urgency to watch it again. I'm not going to go back to the theater and see it again. Maybe it's on Disney Plus, I'll see it again. I mean, so that says something, right? I do think it's better than the second one, but it's not as good as the first one. So if I was to rate the movie, you know, the order of the Guardians movie, 1, 3, 2.
Okay. Where would you compare this to another movie in Phase 5, the Wakanda, the most recent Wakanda Forever movie? Because that had a lot of good reception for it, and this one also. So where would you rate the two of them? Which was a better one for you?
I feel like they're very similar. Now, the one I will say this, and you may not. There's a couple things about this movie. There's 2 things about this movie that I'll say specifically, which kind of. I do like movies that are unforgettable and moving. And what I'm going to bring up may be a downside to the movie, right? Does that make sense? Like,
I know what you're gonna say. So
you know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went to the movie with my wife, and largely she is not a Marvel fan, right? I just want to put that out there. Like, she goes to the movies because I go to them.
I didn't know that. I've met her. I thought she was a Marvel fan.
I don't know if she hates Marvel, but she is a very big Star Wars fan. But she's not a hater, but she's very, like a lot of people, you know, all the you know, she said this before, you know, superhero movies are all the same, blah, blah, blah. She cried in this movie. This movie was upsetting. And I almost interpreted that as memorable. And like, yeah, the movie actually had some substance that moved me to be upset. Yeah. But other people may not appreciate the severity and the treatment of animals and the villain. And the way that he treats Rocket and the other animals. So, and I think people had a very visceral response to that part of the movie. And in the way that I view that is like, I actually felt something, like it was memorable. Like their intent was to strike some sort of response out of us, and it did that. And so I applaud that. Other people are probably horrified. I mean, you have what? Children, you know, what do they think? You know, it was
the movie, but it was the bad guy doing all the bad stuff. So you know, they were like, "Oh, that guy's bad. That guy's evil." They didn't have a negative thing in the movie. They enjoyed it, but it was the bad guy that was doing the bad stuff. So it's not like it's a good guy doing the bad stuff. It's you're supposed to have that hatred toward the bad guy doing that stuff.
Yes, and I think they did accomplish that. Now on the flip side, and not everybody will have my point of view on this, but a movie, specifically a superhero movie, is only as good as the villain is. And notable villains that made the movies exceptional would be Darth Vader in Star Wars, or Thanos, or the Joker, right? Heath Ledger's Joker. Those are memorable villains, and they define the movie. I mean, the movie is only as, at least for me, superhero movie is only as good as the villain. And I did, like, I was largely confused on the power level of the High Evolutionary. Like I thought he
was a smart guy. He didn't seem to have any superpowers. He seemed very smart.
But I also didn't empathize or sympathize with him. And for me, the worst bad guys are, I'm a bad guy because I'm evil. And you know, where, like, you know, Thanos and Darth Vader were very different, where they actually had some depth, and they were conflicted, or at least they had a point of view that maybe was misguided and wrong, but you at least could understand what the way they thought. especially appreciated like the way Thanos, like nothing for him was personal. It was literally, he had a goal that he thought was right, and it was just that was his truth, and he was moving towards that. And they tried to do that with High Evolutionary. I just didn't buy into it. He
was a very emotional bad guy. He was a hot-tempered guy. He wasn't very calculated like some of these other bad guys, which I think I enjoy more. A lot of
screaming and was very angry. And
yeah, he's very erratic.
He acted irrationally. He did things out of emotion. Yeah. I don't know. Like I know a lot of people didn't like Ant-Man Quantumania 3, that whatever it was, the third Ant-Man, that much, but I thought Kang was quite pleasant. I actually like,
Kang was an evil bad guy. Yeah, Kang was calculated. He didn't lose his cool.
I prefer Kang as a villain over High Evolutionary, and which kind of saddens me because the future of Kang and the characters surrounded in controversy right now. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
But we'll see it. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see how it all plays out.
Very much like Kang in the Loki series and Ant-Man 3, and I was looking forward. Like I was like, I like Kang. I think he's interesting.
Yeah, I got a lot more thoughts on this movie, but this videos are way too long. I enjoyed it though. I thought it was a good movie. I was a little surprised that no one died. Not even the bad guy, not even the High Evolutionary. So that was a little surprising considering all the tweets in the lead up. Like, this is the last time these guys are going to be together. But that's it. I was a little surprised at that, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. We will see it again. But that is about it. Any other thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Marvel Strike Force, or anything else that you got coming up, my friend?
I really, 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 really liked Cosmic Crucible 32, and I hope that we see more of that and not what they're shoving down our throats.
All right, so guys, you know what to do. Let Scopely know what you like about the game. Whether you like the Ultimate 32 or not, let them know what you like. Give them your feedback. They want your feedback. That's how they, correct course and steer the ship on some of their bad decisions. So
they do actually read Reddit, believe it or not.
They read.
They do read Reddit, or they I believe they have an automated way of going through Reddit. But those posts on Reddit do matter. I know they do read them.
Yeah, so keep letting your feedback know whether you enjoy stuff or don't. But that is about it, Mobile Gamer. Let everybody know where they can find you if they don't already. If they're new to the Marvel Strike Force community.
Yeah, Mobile Gamer, Marvel Strike Force. You'll find me.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out, Mobile Gamer. It's always fun, man. I was a little sad before, but it always puts a smile on my face talking to you. So thank you, brother. Thank you guys for watching. Hope this was valuable to you. If it was, hit that like button. It helps out YouTube algorithm. Hit that subscribe. Check out some of the other videos. Have a great rest of your day. Hog fist bump. You ready for a Mobile Gamer?
Let's go.
ValleyFlyin Mobile Gamer out.